Hello, guys. This is Meet the Artist podcast. I'm your host, James Gainey. Today's guest is Laura James. Laura, I'm going to let you introduce yourself. If you would, tell our guest a little bit about your background.
Okay, I'm Laura James. I was born an artist. I don't know that I recognized that till I was maybe 7, but I'm a painter primarily, and my focus is color and finding the good in things that we don't often recognize as good. Um, I've done a series of paintings on leaves that are in a gutter or plants that were in a parking lot in a that's grocery store. I really want people to be able to recognize the things that are around them that are beautiful that we don't ordinarily think of as beautiful. I've been painting since I was in high school, but I didn't make a living as an artist until I was in my mid 40s. Uh, I had been brought up by people who were very concerned about my being able to make a living as an artist, thought that was not really a good thing to do. So I went to college to become a teacher. I enjoyed the teaching, but I didn't care for the administration or the policies. And I left that, went into sales, and at about the halfway point in my life, I had a series of tragedies. My mother had a stroke, my first ex husband died, and my stepmother was diagnosed with lung cancer, all within a 6-week period. That made me sit down and say, whoa, we don't know when we're going to have the final moment. And if I'm planning on finally someday working as an artist, I better do it now. So I quit my job and went out into the world with no idea how to make a living as an artist. It was a financial catastrophe. Um, and I watched a program on This Old House on PBS and saw an artist painting a mural in a bathroom. And I said, oh, I could do that. And I realized that that artist had come to that project through an interior designer. So I reached out to interior designers who said, yes, we can always use someone who can paint murals. So I began a business for that I ran for about 10 years, providing art services to interior designers and to architects and people who wanted to have something in their home or business that was not just something they hung on the wall, but that was permanent. Painted inside and outside, hired lots of my artist friends to work with me, and found that while I was really getting a lot of practice in painting in different ways, in different environments, and with different techniques, I didn't get to paint my own work. Also, I was running a small business, which was not being an artist, and I finally wrapped it up and quit. Um, when I did that, I turned back to that field that I'd been involved with, the interior designers, but I painted my own work and I painted my own work in a large enough body that I was able to have an inventory that designers could choose from to have their clients satisfied. Um, Wonderful way to get to paint my own work. I loved it. As I was getting older, my brother, who was living in Oregon, and I at the time was in Palm Springs, said, come on, you said you were going to move up here. And I did. When I did, as the marketplace was changing, I found that the more things I could diversify in, the better grounding I had for continuing to have income. So the watercolors that I had been doing for designers when they finished a project to show the work that they'd done, and made into note cards turned into a little side business that I do currently, doing watercolors of home portraits, and things around the town that I live in, and it's really been fun. I still paint my big pieces on canvas, and I also play. I play a little with clay and beads. I play with encaustic. Um, I've done book illustration locally for a couple of children's books, and Lots of stuff. So I'm going to go back to you, James, and
Okay.
say,
I'm gonna pause right here, guys, and we're gonna show you some of her illustrations in some of her books. So hold on one sec. Okay, guys, we're back with Miss Lori. Lori, if you would please.
yes. Okay, so one of the things I've done locally in here in Astoria is work with Arline LaMear, who's an author of children's books as well as being the ex-mayor of Astoria. She selected me to illustrate both this book, which is a story about where the Columbia River begins or ends, depending on which end you look at, and also the other book that was just released and came out yesterday is this book, which is based on a lot of the animals that are featured in the mural everybody reads that's in the library in the children's section.
Excellent, excellent.
Now, um, any more to
Yeah,
say?
where however you want, whatever direction you want to go on
Well,
that.
I think it's important for me at this stage of my life to have fun as I go into what I consider to be the fourth quarter. uh, to not only have fun, but to reach back and help other artists. That being a teacher early in my life was important to me. Again, I really enjoyed the teaching part, um, but there are a lot of artists locally, and some need help in connecting and learning how to do things that will further their career. And so I've been involved very heavily with the Arts Council of Clatsop County, an important organization that will connect opportunities and artists. Also, been involved with Astoria Visual Arts, which is a wonderful organization for local artists. We, through the Arts Council, have put on seminars on how to make a living as an artist, how to sell your work through a project called the Summit. And there will be more of that happening this year. We did them last year, the year before. What else? Anything that I can find and do that will give information to artists that they might not have is something that's really important to me.
What is some advice you would give to upcoming artists that's trying to find their way as an artist?
Well, first of all, they need to have reached a point in their art where they're clear on what they are doing, where they want, what their basic philosophy is, and lean into that. Create body of work that has that message, whatever it may be, and to become involved in as many opportunities as they can to join Astoria Visual Arts, to be part of maybe the Art Loft, to connect with other artists in the community, and to keep their eye out. Look online for shows that are asking for artists to come in and be a participant, and to just do as much as they can to get themselves out there. Having a website is important. Keeping that website up, which I am not very good at, is a very important thing too. Because when people come to you and say, "Oh, I just saw this particular piece somewhere," you can direct them to your website so they can see more of your art. And I think depending on what their art is, if it's photography or painting or whatever, to find organizations online and locally that are specifically for that endeavor so they can meet with other artists that enjoy the same process. Um, and
S-
be persistent, just stay at it.
Speaking of process, can you walk us through your process on your latest project?
Latest project. Well, right this minute, I'm working on a painting to enter into a show that will be in May through the Art Loft, I think it is, and it's called Artists Against Fascism. And that's been a fun thing for me because it's a way for me to express my feelings about what's happening currently in our country. It's on canvas with acrylic paint. And it's unusual for what I do normally because it's a little uh, more like a political cartoon than like a piece that I would have painted for my regular body of work. But I'm kind of having fun with it because it gives me a voice in a language I speak.
Now, would you normally use acrylics in your paintings, or do you use acrylic and oil?
That's my favorite. My favorite are larger canvases, 4 foot by 4 foot, etc., with acrylic. And I, for some reason, see square format more than I see a rectangle. And again, a lot of my work is almost abstract because it's inspired by something I've seen that was unusual or not necessarily could be defined as beautiful until you really look at it. And what I'm trying to do is to get you to really look at it by emphasizing a, a small segment, by amplifying the color and creating a composition that is almost abstract and makes you think before you figure out what you're looking at. And that, for me, I love it when I see leaves in the gutter because the combination of them laying on top of one another and the colors that they turn are beautiful. So I will stop, take a picture with my camera now. It's so easy. And then go back, put it on the computer, look at it, and create a composition that I think tells the story I want to tell. So that's my number one. And number two, it's really fun for me to do the watercolors. To again, I do note cards for the Flavel House, and by looking at different shapes and sizes on that house, I can find abstracted images as well, and to celebrate some of the things that we have around town is really fun. Really fun.
I understand. Now, what brings us to the library this morning?
The mural. We're here because there's a mural, and I want to thank a lot of people for this. I have always envied and admired the artists that were sponsored during the 30s with the WPA projects who did murals in public places. And I always thought, wow, what a neat thing to be able to do. Um, I was approached for this mural by Arline LaMear, who has donated the cost of this mural to the library and to the Friends of the Library and the city of Astoria, etc. I also was really helped by the donation of space to paint this by Port Hopper. Those guys in their store just was such a kind and delightful place to work. They gave me a whole corner, and I spent the summer painting these four panels, which you'll see. And those four panels were 4 foot wide and 8 foot high, and they were way too big to work in my studio. So I just took over a corner of their store and painted. I was also able, because I was out in the middle of public, to talk to people about what I was doing as I was doing it, which was also really fun because we had a lot of tourists. It was during the summer. I went from March through September to paint it. I did it by myself. I had friends that would come and do some things. I had one that did some of the water with me. I had another that helped me grid it out and transfer the images. So it was sort of a community project, I guess, and lots of fun. And here it is.
Excellent. We're going to pause right here, guys, and we're going to show this beautiful mural.
The general idea of this mural, which is called Everybody Reads, is Arline LaMear wanted very much to show a lot of the animals and birds and critters that are in our area here as the Columbia River goes out to the Pacific Ocean. These are 4 panels that are 4 foot by 8 foot each, and they're joined to make one long 16-foot piece. Over here we have the white-tailed deer, which you see everywhere in Astoria. Sometimes they use the crosswalk, sometimes they don't. Um, Little kingfisher eating a gosh, I don't know what. We've got a blue heron. We've got a crane. We've got everybody reads. We've got the golden eagle with glasses and a book. We've got the Chinook salmon. We've got the American eagle or the bald eagle. And what else is that? The cormorant. And then as we move along a little bit, we've got the rufous hummingbird down here, mallard ducks, a loon, a mother otter reading to her little baby otters. And these are river otters, not sea otters. And these are called mergansers. Up above are the, oh gosh, what are they called? They're called, I'll have to get back to that. I'm not remembering what they're called. I do know them, but they're, but well, we'll get back to that. um, Over here, again, everybody reads. We've got the sea lion with the seagull holding open the book, and as the sea lion is reading, the pelicans are listening, and another seagull and a boat up above as it's coming into Astoria. Ah, these little guys, these three up top are called buffleheads. I remember that now. Um, and then over in the final panel, where we're looking at the Washington side of the bridge, we've got pelicans, white pelicans. We've got, oh, dragonflies. We've got another cormorant. And we've got, what is this guy called? Oh, it's a crane. It's, I've forgotten the name of the crane. The boat coming in, we named Port Hopper because they were so gracious in hosting the creation of the mural. And oh, I don't know what else I can say about it except there it is. And it took from March until the end of August to actually paint it. It took about 4 or 5 months before then to work with Arline to decide what animals she wanted to emphasize and to do the research on them because I had to do the research to find out what they looked like and what specific kinds of things they were. Like the hummingbird. The hummingbird is a rufous hummingbird, and it's in this area and different from some other hummingbirds, but I had to do the research to find what they looked like and what the colors were. And that's pretty much it. I think it's a fun mural, and it was certainly fun to do. Um, and I don't know what else to tell you.
There we go. We're going to pause right there, guys. We'll be right back. Okay, Ms. Laura. So, in closing, is there anyone you want to thank um, before we close out here?
Well, aside from talking about my career in general, I really would like to thank the library as well because without their support, this never would have happened. And it's been a wonderful experience for me. Um, and it's like I said, I always admired those WPA artists, and I'm really, really delighted that I had the opportunity to participate.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Again, I want to thank you for taking time out of your day, coming and talk with us on Meet the Artist podcast. I've been your host, James Gainey. Thank you guys for watching.